Hey everyone, today I want to talk about the market, but this isn't a, oh my god, the market's crashing, blah 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 video. No, I'm not going to talk about my interpretation of the market and the changes I'm making basically, and honestly, I don't think the market is going to crash. Yeah, there's some corrections coming, but I don't think it's going to crash. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts and stuff lately. I know you're really surprised, mostly Bigger Pockets, of course. There's a new one they have called On the Market, and that podcast focuses on the macro trends that's going on in the economy and how it affects us. Also, David Green from the OG Bigger Pockets podcast has been bringing up the trends a lot too. And I've been kind of digging into it to kind of see how should I change my business to really work with these trends? Because we always want to make sure that we are shifting our business, morphing our business to make sure it moves with the economy. Because in our world, the same thing doesn't always work. From one year to another year, sometimes 1 month to another month, it doesn't work. One of the first things I'm paying attention to now that I really didn't before was inflation. Now, inflation should be at about 2%, and that's what the Federal Reserve thinks is a healthy percentage of increase in our economy. Right now, it's trending at 8%. Now, they're trying to combat that by raising interest rates. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But the way I think about it this way is if I have a raise for 3%, and the inflation is 8%, that money I have, unless I'm investing it smartly, if it's just sitting in my bank account, I'm actually losing 5% this year instead of gaining 3%. So with the inflation really high, that's affecting payroll. But the bigger, more important thing to me, it's really upping the prices that it costs to actually renovate these homes. Here's an example. 65 Washington Street in Leominster. You all know that house. That's Conrad's house. Windows on that house cost $250 per window. This was bought probably 6 months ago, the windows themselves. 2832 North Main Street in Lancaster, which I don't think you've seen too much of yet. That one, same windows, $330 per window. This is 6 months later and how much it's gone up in price. And this is just the window cost. This is not the installation of the window. So all of my materials are all over the place. They're going up by a certain percentage. It's very hard to predict between projects. So we do have to make changes when it comes to looking at these projects and how much it's going to cost to actually fix these projects. The other thing is interest rates. So interest rates a couple months ago were at 3%, 3.5% maybe. I think my Florida house is locked in just over 4% for a second home loan. And I did a refinance on my personal home recently because that needs some renovation too, and I locked it at 5.5%. So you can see how much that's gone up in the past couple months. What that really means is the end consumer for the house I'm renovating don't have as much buying power anymore. There's also not as many of them because some of them don't want to buy with the interest rates this high. Now, let me preface this by saying these are not really high interest rates. We were just super low before. So now we're getting back into normal interest rates. What happens is people kind of get a little bit of a sticker shock. So what I'm seeing right now in the industry, and I think David Green talked about this too, is there's a lull. So people went, whoa, it's expensive to buy a house right now. The house prices are really high and the interest rates are really high. What's going to happen is that's going to sit for a little while, and then people are going to say, well, I guess this is the new norm. If I want a house, this is what I have to do. So they'll go buy the homes. But you still won't have the same buying power that you had before, because as the interest rates go up, the amount they can pay go down. So let's say you could afford a $2,000 a month mortgage, right? Which before got you a $500,000 house. Now with the interest rates 2% higher, you may only be able to afford a house that's $450,000. So if you would have paid $500,000 for my renovated house before, I may only be getting $450,000 now. So we're getting hit on the front end when it comes to the renovation costs, and we're getting hit on the back end a little bit when it comes to the selling costs because we don't have as much buying power and it costs more to do things. Now you might be saying, whoa, are you saying I shouldn't renovate homes and try to sell them anymore? Or this market's crazy, we shouldn't renovate homes. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we just have to augment how we do things in order to renovate the homes and still make the profit we need to. And you know what that really means? Sadly, we can't offer the homeowners that we're buying from as much as we were before to make sure that the profit is made so the business can continue running. An example of what I'm doing right now. I always change my spreadsheets every time I get a new quote so I know what it's going to be when it comes to the next renovation budget I'm going to put together. But because it's changing so quickly, I used to do a 10% contingency on everything I do. Now I'm doing a 20% contingency on the back end because I don't know which one of these things that I did 6 months ago are going to be vastly higher than right now. So I add up all my costs that I think it's going to cost to renovate this house, and I tack on 20% on the back of it. This 20% is to basically encompass the ever variable market right now on the cost of things. The other thing I'm doing when it comes to the back end and selling it is I'm really taking a hard look at the comparable properties. things were selling for ridiculous amounts a little while ago. I mean, my personal home I put up for $450, so $520. I don't think it should go for $520, but it did. I actually wouldn't use that as a comp. In fact, I looked at a house in Leominster, which is where my house was, that was fairly comparable to my house that I sold, and I didn't use it as a comp because I felt that was way above what things should be selling for. And right now, with the market softer, things aren't selling for ridiculous amounts anymore. So on the back end, I'm taking the comparables, but I'm not taking the highest comparables out there. I'm going to take the middle of the ground comparables, or actually I'll take the comparable that's a little bit higher, and I'll take 5 or 10% off of it, because of the fact that with this market and the variability of it, I want to be a little more risk adverse than I was before to ensure that the company makes the money and the company stays in business, right? We're all in this to stay in business and make money. Again, that all comes together. It means that our offers sometimes are a little bit less. I hope my synopsis on what I thought was going on in the market, how I'm changing what I do based on this market when it comes to the renovation portion of my business helped you out. I'd like to hear what your thoughts are on the market, so you can comment down below and let me know. See y'all later.